Hello YouTube, and I'm back with a video here on the as an update to my repair of these particular 4 cells. And before I begin the video, let me begin with this disclaimer. Everything that I've done up to this point was dangerous, okay? It's very dangerous, and I accepted the risk. And when dealing with these particular cells, cleaning them and stuff like that, I was dealing with some very hazardous chemicals, and I needed proper protective equipment, eye and hand protection and so forth, so that I can maintain some some protection. Some people may even go as far as putting on face masks and stuff like that, but I didn't do it. But anyway, I just want you to know, if you choose to do this approach, everything that I've done in my previous videos and so forth, know that you do it at your own risk, and know that this stuff is dangerous. Everything I'm doing, testing these batteries, cleaning them and stuff like that, is dangerous. And also, I am not a battery expert. I'm not a scientist. I am just a guy, for all intents and purposes, I'm a guy that, that's doing this in his garage and, for fun. So with that in mind, again, if you do this only at your own risk. Now, let's begin. Let's go ahead and continue with the video. Before I begin with the results, let me tell you what I did to do the load testing. In order to do the load testing, I believe, in order to do it accurately, or as close to accurately as a DIY person can get, is, you got to have at least a 20 amp draw, okay? At least a 20 amp draw on the batteries. Any more than that, I think your results will be skewed. So, it's like a, 20 amp draw, like a 20-hour rate or whatever, 20 amp draw. And what I did to get that 20 amp draw was simply use a clothes hanger with a certain type of thickness. And I used the entire clothes hanger. And I just simply wound the clothes hanger around an old shower rod. And I just simply made my own little, coil. And each one of these coils gives me around, this right here draws around, 20, up around 20, it started out at like 25 amps, and this started out around 22 amps or something like that. And this was like 22 amps. So essentially this gave me a consistent amp draw of around 19 or 20 amps for about 10 hours. I've had these batteries or these cells like this for 10 hours. And this one right here is a clothes hanger, but it's a smaller clothes hanger, smaller diameter clothes hanger, and therefore the amp draw was a lot less. It was about 11 amps. I think the most it got maybe 12 or something like that, but on average it's about 11 amps. And on average with these, it was about 19 or 20 amps, and on average this one was about maybe 21 amps. 21, 22 amps or something like that. So these three were all in the ballpark. This one right here, it stayed around 10 amps, okay? Around average, around 10 or 11 amps. Okay, now, with this, I tested these cells every hour. Again, for the last 10 hours or so. I tested the cell, I tested the voltage, and I tested the amperage using this device. My amp clamp here. And so, the ending results were very, very good, in my opinion. So this cell right here, this cell is this is the shorted cell. I know it because I have the Z at the bottom there. This was the shorted cell that I repaired. And you can see, as far as the date on it, this thing here was manufactured in October 1981. It was shorted. It was, essentially, I repaired this cell. And the ending amp hours for this one, it was 190.3 amp hours. I erased the other one because I wanted to get as accurate as I could. So I said 190.3. Now, is this scientifically accurate? Come on now, I'm a guy in a garage. I mean, I did the best I could here. So this one here, ending amperage is 190.3 amp hours. Now, this cell right here, okay, the ending amp hours for this one, I separated the cells. This one here was the weakest. So the ending amp hours for this one was 152 amp hours. This one was 152. And it was manufactured in, I don't know if you can see that. See if I can kind of move it around a little bit. Let me turn on the light. So this one was manufactured in 1977, and this one wasn't shorted. This is one of the ones I cleaned. Okay, this was not a shorted cell. This was one of the ones I cleaned. Okay, and this one was manufactured in 1977, and I brought it back to. You can see the last 4 serial numbers is 0244. So if you look here on the end, I don't know if you can see that, but that's the 02 and 44. So the ending amp hours for that one was 152 amp hours. So that's 152. This one here was manufactured in 1980. Okay, this is one of the cells that I cleaned. This was not a shorted cell. This was one that I cleaned, and this was manufactured in, I don't know if you can see that. I may just have to tell you. But this was manufactured in May of 1980. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you can't see that, but it's May of 1980. It's right here, actually. May of 1980. This one, the ending amp hours, looking at the fine, it's like the last digits there. I'm just trying to look at the last. It's 1816. You can't really see that, but the ending amp hours for this one here was 229.5 amp hours. Yes, you heard me correctly. 229.5 amp hours for this one. All right, so, and again, this one was, you know, this was a shorted cell, and you can see this was manufactured in July of 1995. This was shorted, okay, and the plates were pretty bad. I may have to go back in because, you know, I haven't, you know, glued the tops back on yet, and you can see this, you know, the black material, or the stuff coming out of the cell there. That's residue from the plate, so I may need to go in and clean them again. This was the cell that was shorted and badly damaged as far as the plates, and so I may need to go back in there. But the thing is, it had a pretty reasonable showing, and its ending amperage amp hours was 87 amp hours. Okay, so there you have it here. So the bottom line is, these particular cells, they came back, and my repair method does work. It definitely does work. Now again, if you choose to do this on your own, just note that, you know, hey, you know, it is dangerous. You do need to wear proper protective gear, and, you know, hey, there is the possibility, who knows, maybe the battery or the cell hopefully won't explode on you or something, I don't know. But the point is, be safe, be safe. But anyway, that's the results. Again, this particular cell, the ending amp hours was 190. That one was 152 amp hours. That one there was an astounding 229.5 amp hours. This one was a respectable showing of 87 amp hours. So the ending result was, hey, it works. I believe it does anyway. Was this a scientific test? No, I'm not a scientist, and I'm not trying to be. Now, one other key thing that I would like to say is, look, folks, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to, you know, convince you to say, hey, believe me. No. This is me just sharing my information. As far as I'm concerned, it works great. And what I'm going to do is, these batteries will be incorporated, or these cells will be incorporated into my bank to increase the amp hour capacity. And I'm satisfied with my repair methods. So I'll just continue on. But anyway, for you folks that are interested, these are the final results of these 4 cells. So again, this cell was shorted, all right? This cell was cleaned, this cell was cleaned, and this cell was shorted. So these two, this cell here, very respectable showing with 190 amp hours. This is a very good showing too of 152 amp hours. This one was it was one of the cells that I cleaned at 229 amp hours. And again, this cell right here was manufactured in 1980. So So for folks that don't believe that these cells are, can last and you can fix them, hey, I don't know what else to tell you. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching YouTube, and good fortune on your own projects. Take care.